I'm Tony Keith, the Christmas light guy. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to run WLED firmware on an ESPixelStick version 3 hardware and control it with xLights. In many of my tutorials, I use ESPixelStick hardware running on ESPixelStick firmware. However, I wanted to check out the WLED firmware running on an ESPixelStick hardware. I'm excited. This is my first time playing with WLED. Let's get started. The first thing you need to understand is WLED firmware will run on many ESP8266 or ESP32 hardware devices. The ESPixelStick is an ESP8266 device. I've opened up the WLED project website in a browser. First, I want to verify the ESPixelStick hardware is supported. First, click on Basics. It brings up a menu, then Compatibility, then Hardware. The first list is addressable LED strips. Next is going to be controllers with WLED pre-installed. And following that is a list of controllers WLED can be installed. And if you notice, ESPixelStick version 3 is listed, and that's what I'm running, and the chipset is ESP8266. Now I've confirmed my hardware is compatible. Let's look at the installation process. Click on Installation. For this installation, I will use a pre-built binary. Click on Install WLED binary. I will also use the home flasher method. Scroll down to Flashing Method 3, ESP Home Flasher. Click on the link. It will open up the GitHub Home Flasher repo site. The latest version is 1.40. Scroll down. Here are the files for the different operating systems. I'm using a Mac, so I will download the Mac operating system file. I will go back to the WLED website. Click here to go to the WLED firmware GitHub repo site. Scroll down to Releases. Click the latest button. The latest version is 0.13.1. Remember, the ESPixelStick is an ESP8266 device. I will download the binary for the ESP8266. Let's look at the files I've downloaded. The WLED firmware is a binary file. The home flasher is a tar file, so I will go ahead and extract it. Next, I need to connect the ESP8266 Wi-Fi module to my computer using a micro USB to standard USB cable. This is so I can flash the WLED firmware to it. Here is my enclosure with my ESPixelStick inside. If you're interested, I have another tutorial titled How to Wire an ESPixelStick and Build a Simple Enclosure Using PVC Pipe. Check it out. Pull it apart. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the ESP8266 module from the ESPixelStick. Connect a micro USB cable to the module, and plug the other end into the computer. Okay, I've plugged the module in and it's connected to my USB port on my computer. Next, I will run the ESP Home Flasher program and flash the WLED firmware. Select Open. Open again. This is a Mac OS security feature. Notice the flasher program must detect your USB to serial port driver. If it doesn't, you may need to install the drivers for your operating system. Please check other available references since this is beyond the scope of this tutorial. Click Browse to select the firmware file. Select the WLED firmware file. Next, I will flash the ESPixelStick. Click Flash ESP. You should see console activity log similar to this. The flasher program will upload and write the firmware to the ESP8266. This will take a few seconds to complete. Once it completes, I've unplugged the ESP8266 from the computer. Now I will close the ESP Home Flasher program, and I will also close the File Manager window. I have powered up and connected the ESPixelStick to a prop. Next I need to access WLED and configure some settings. WLED will start a Wi-Fi access point so that you can connect to it and configure it. Let's go have a look. I will open up my Wi-Fi network window. Notice there is a SSID named WLED-AP. I will connect to that access point. A pop-up window will appear. Next, click on Wi-Fi settings. From here, I will enter my show network SSID and password. I have a separate show network from my home network. After that, I will change the DNS address field to WLED-06.local. Scrolling down, I will also change the AP SSID to WLED-AP-06. All other settings should be fine. Press Save and Connect. Press Send, and now it's been saved. I will go ahead and close the pop-up window. Remember, I configured the Wi-Fi settings to connect to my show network. Currently, my laptop is connected to my home network. Let me connect to my show network. My show network is called LS. If you configure WLED to use your home network, obviously you wouldn't have to switch Wi-Fi networks. Now I will open up another browser tab and type in the DNS address, which is WLED-06.local. This will bring up the WLED UI interface. Now I can test to see if WLED software and ESPixelStick is working together. First, I will turn off the power, then go to the Config menu, select LED Preferences. First thing, I will disable the automatic brightness limiter, as I know my power supply has enough power to supply for my LEDs. Next, change the color order to RGB, and then set the length to 257, since my ESPixelStick is connected to my glow spinner with 257 pixels. Scroll down, everything else should be fine. Save. Press the back button. Now I will enable my video recording. Give me just a second. Okay, my video is enabled. I will turn on the power and let's see what happens. Power is on and we have orange. Now red, now blue, now green, now white. Let's check the brightness control. Okay, now I've verified everything is working. Let's see what the setup looks like in xLights. I've opened up xLights and I'm on the Controllers tab. I've already manually set up the controller using the Add Ethernet button. I've named the controller WLED-06 and added a description of the same, WLED-06. I've turned off Auto Layout Models and Auto Size. There seems to be a bug with this version of WLED firmware and xLights to auto-configure WLED. No problem, I will set it up manually. I set the vendor to WLED, model to WLED, and the variant to generic ESP8266. I set the IP address, the protocol to E131, and I manually set the universe count to 2 or 1020 channels. This is more than enough since I only need 771, which is 256 pixels times 3 channels. Moving over to the Layout tab, for this demo I will be using my glow spinner prop. As I've indicated before, it has 256 pixels. If you want to find out more about the glow spinner, check out my video titled How to Convert Your Coro Spinner to a Glow Spinner. Moving over to the Sequencer tab, I've already created a 30-second sequence with some interesting effects, each effect being 5 seconds long. Let me start my video recording of the glow spinner prop again. Give me just a second. Okay, the video recording is started. Let me enable the output. Okay, and the first effect. First effect I call Ferris wheel. It's kind of interesting. Second effect is called Ferris wheel 2, a little bit different. The third effect is called implosion. I need to run the entire effect in a replay section. Let me stop this. Press replay. I really like this one. Okay, moving to the next one I call Garland 1, but I need to stop this. Give me a second. Garland 1. Next is Garland 2. Next is what I call Crazy Circles. I like this one also. And last but not least, Crazy Circles 2. Okay, that is a quick demo of the ESPixelStick hardware running on the WLED firmware. I really enjoyed creating this video and having a chance to play with WLED for the first time. I have to say, I was impressed. Now for the pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. WLED firmware has many features such as mobile application, standalone effects, presets, and playlists, which I didn't elaborate on in this tutorial. These features would be ideal for someone that didn't want to use xLights to create sequences, but could build a playlist of effects and then run them. One example would be to run WLED playlist of effects on an indoor Christmas tree and have the ability to change and update using your phone. I think I'll give this method a try for my indoor Christmas tree this year. WLED was easy to install and configure on the ESPixelStick hardware. However, there seems to be a bug in the upload output on version 0.13 and 0.13.1. Since I manually configured the number of pixels in the WLED firmware, this wasn't an issue for me. I tested this setup for a couple weeks and didn't have any other issues. And for the cons, there is only one. WLED can also be controlled using E131 data from xLights or from an FPP. The only feature that I did not see support for was FPP remote mode with multisync. This will allow sequences to be uploaded to the controller and then use multisync instead of continuously streaming E131 data. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new from it. If you did and would like to see more tutorials like this, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, The Christmas Light Guy. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. All you have to do is press the subscribe button below.